afternoon, back on the Volvo again, and this time I'm changing the valve springs because, well, as you'd have seen for the dyno video, the power peaked and then dropped off really low, and I'm wondering if that's valve float. It's most likely to be, don't mean it is, but luckily I've got some uprated valve springs anyway. I had them on the shelf for months now, so I'm going to chuck them on and see if it fixes it. Already made a bit of a start, took the cam cover off and stuff. It should be a pretty easy job. I've got the tools to do it so I don't have to take the head off. It saves a lot of grief. But this is the valve springs I've got to go on it. They're from Sweden, I think. I think they're from like KG Trimming or whatever one of them Swedish tuners are called. I bought them like off somebody in the UK, bought them then never used them, and yeah, you see they're double valve springs and they come with uprated retainers and new, possibly stainless steel uprated seats. So yeah, all there. I've had these on the shelf for months because I knew I'd need them when I went crazy on the car, but well, presuming this is valve float that's causing this problem, I need them now. So, but there's no harm in putting them in now, even if it turns out it wasn't valve float. So let's whack them on and see what happens. Right, update of where we are. The old stuff's off, but doing the new stuff is a lot more complicated than I first imagined. Had to get the clutch master cylinder out of the way just to fit the airline to hold the valves up, but the problem was getting the actual valves apart, basically, because a normal compressor, you know, valve spring compressor, won't work on this. It's not long enough because these are deep seated valves, and there's nothing to attach it to as well, because the thing has got, well, let me show you. The thing has got these hooks which are meant to attach to something to you know, be able to push down the valve, no, the valve spring. But as you can pretty much see, because it's deep seated valves and it's all pretty smooth in there, there ain't anywhere. So looking online, most of Volvo people fabricate their own like weird tool, but it would take a while, like, you know, half a day at least to get done. It just wasn't happening tonight. But luckily, and this is massive luck, the lip on the edge of the cylinder head at the top grips to these. Unfortunately, the threaded section wasn't long enough. But on the good bad luck thing that we've had so far with this, there was enough thread on this adjustment knob that you can use another threaded bit here to basically make this longer, so this is now the correct length. I'm glad Thomas thought of this because I wouldn't have, and I'd have just been stuck. So thank God Thomas is here to have ideas like that, because I'd have been screwed. And my other option would have been pull it all back together, go home, make that tool somehow, and come back and do it again. And no. But then it got worse. Well, not really worse, but much more complicated than I thought. Got the valve spring off, no problem, thanks to that. The next problem is the valve seat, the valve spring seat in there. You can't reuse the standard ones with these double valve springs because they're a different shape, so it won't fit. So you have to replace them with the uprated ones that come with the kit, which now explains why they come with the kit. I did wonder. Unfortunately, that means you have to fish them out from deep inside the head, and also the valve stem oil seals sit on top of them, so you have to fish them out as well. And the first one we've got out, the valve stem oil seal, even though it's only been in there for what, a couple hundred miles, was knackered and literally fell apart, 3 pieces. I've got 4 spare ones, so yeah, it's not a disaster, but it's a lot more complicated than first imagined. I thought, oh, you know, a couple hours, be done. Nope, not at all. It's a quick old versus new comparison. That's the valve springs. As you can see, the new ones are double valve spring and actually longer. See the smaller valve spring in the middle. Slightly bigger diameter too. These are spring seats. They are, like I said, this one's got a thinner lip to sit the inner spring on, whereas these originals, there is no, you know, inner spring placement on them, so wouldn't work. And this is the top. These are where they're least different. Still different, as you can see. Bigger diameter and slightly taller. The difference here really is these things are known to fracture. I had a broken one when I took this head apart, so these uprated ones should stay alive. So yeah, wish us luck. Thankfully for me, I've got the car surgeon here, Thomas, who's a lot more skilled in this kind of stuff than me, because this is a bit of a nightmare. But Thomas is incredibly sort of surgeon-like with his engine skills here. So I think if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be going home tonight.
Wow.
But so far,
yes,
we've worked out ways of getting around everything being wrong. Still don't make it easy.
No.
And
no.
Thomas is now standing in like an engine bay where there's not really room to stand. But
well, luckily I lost some weight. It's sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, I'm not sure we would recommend doing it in situ.
Absolutely fucking not.
I think we should have just take the head off, because what this is gripping onto
fuck all.
is fuck all, as sketchy as anything.
I'm actually worried to put my face on it.
Yeah. You know, like on when you compress coil springs sometimes on a shock absorber and expect them to shoot off and kill us, then this is no different.
That's where we are. You have to use the 11mm pushes on the top here, and that's not good. This one goes around it and pushes on the body. So you want to push on the body. If you push on this one, you may break it very easily. If you push on the body, no problem. You just have to be a little bit sensitive. Let's see.
Ready?
Yeah. On.
On. Yeah. It's on.
Is it on?
It's on. It's on.
This shit is sketchy as fuck. Honestly, I've never done anything like it. And then you have to keep it. Can't push it all the way down.
I was gonna say you can't, can you? So you need
no, because it's different retainer. So I have to hold it with one hand. Keep holding the pressure. Yeah, put them down now, please. Yeah. And then get this little fuckers with the left hand. I'm right-handed, not left-handed. So that's the extra bastard for me to do it.
Multitasking.
Oh,
they say men can't multitask.
My missus is convinced I can't.
Yeah, well, this is.
And she's better keep thinking now because. I keep saying I can't listen to her arguing when I'm doing something.
Yeah.
If she knows I can multitask,
yeah, she can't.
That's off the bin. So let's make sure she never sees this video. And off we go.
Done.
That easy. Easy valve. It's getting simpler. There you go.
Looks easy, isn't easy. It was impossible, but thanks to...
There's a bit of a sweat between my ass cheek.
Yeah, thanks to Thomas thinking of bloody good ideas, it's become what I really thought at the beginning was a give up and go home. It's now possible, so let's see.
Fun.
All fun and games.
Do you remember I had the gram lights on my car?
Yeah.
I had two sets of gram lights. One set was with the on the slicks for dry, and one set was with the slicks for the wet, with the wets on it. I could never afford to get 2 complete sets for the, of drum lights, because they were like 1700 quid per set at the time. With an Audi S2, if I don't remember wrong, that's supposed to go on the first race of the year, first round of the year, within 2 days. Finally, a custom-made flywheel with a pickup point for the. It was a part of the trigger wheel, because you had the pickup points for the crank sensor on the flywheel. It was custom-made machine, blah blah. For this company, we waited for a long time. It finally arrived last minute. We put it on, go on a dyno, because the next very day the car's supposed to be finished to be mapped, and a day after go into the race. Go on the dyno, bang, or flywheel explodes. Okay. Now you got a customer who's waiting for the car for a long time, and the priority was to get the car ready for the championship, which we used to organize. Obviously, you better make sure the car is ready. That's what we're doing. Boss is panicking, my manager is panicking, and I'm sitting there, it's like, where's the old flywheel? Old flywheel is not good, because we need the pickup points for the crank sensor. We can make them, well, we can't make them because the old flywheel is cast and you can't weld it to it. Fair enough. But then I say, what if I can still make it? Ah, you won't make it. Are you sure? Yes, I'm 100% sure. Can you bet on that? Yes, I can bet on it. So I say, okay, I'm gonna stay tonight, and tomorrow morning you're gonna have your flywheel ready. If I do it, you give me a set of drum lights. Yeah, if you do it, I give you anything you want. Okay, so let's make a deal. If I make it, you give me 2 sets of drum lights. One set with the obviously tires on for the wet, one set for the tires for the dry. Yeah, no problems, because obviously that was impossible to do. This bloody company waited so long time, blah blah, all exploded, no go. This little cunt overnight cannot solve the problem out. All I did, because the flywheel had a bearing inside for the primary shaft on the gearbox. I made a jig, right? So I had this flywheel spinning around, very stable. So I made this jig using the plate of the pillar drill. I've calculated the circumference of the flywheel divided by, I can't remember if it was 636 minus 1/10 or more of them. Doesn't matter now because it was a long time ago. However, calculated that, divided, signed manually all the distances, and then all you had to do just tune it by that bit, drill the hole, tune it, drill the hole, tune it, drill the hole, and press the pins in. The simple pins. Flywheel works till these days. Right? The very next day, the car was ready for mapping. We mapped the car, it was all good, it was making 400 brakes because that was class B. It was limited to 400 brakes, and that's how I got my drum lights. The problem is no one believed it, everyone was so happy, yeah. I said, yeah, where's my payment? One night work, not even a full night, 2 sets of drum lights.
And they are not cheap.
No, they're not cheap. But that's what I'm saying, is like, sometimes you see these problems, you just like panicking and all that stuff, but there's no stress. If you're stressing about, then you get blind. If you get blind, you don't see the solutions. So relax, no matter how shitty the situation is, just relax, think about the solutions. You can actually turn into something fun, which is a bit of pressure, but is actually fun.
Yeah, I mean, when this started happening, I thought, we're fucked, no chance. But the 3 or 4 problems that looked like game over, you've had to think about it, solution. Many hours later, and pretty much all Thomas's work, because there's no fucking way I'd have managed this. I could have done this with a head off, but head on, no way. But yeah, many hours later, and they're in, and they look awesome. Now I just got to put everything back together so I can go home. But yeah, amazing work by Thomas, because otherwise this just wouldn't have happened. I'd have either had to take the head off and do it that way, or, which is what I was thinking I was going to do, put it all back together as standard and go home and pretend it didn't happen. and then do it another day. And even then I'd have probably still took the head off. But yeah, all done. Thomas can finally go home, because it's, what is the time? 9:30, something like that?
No, it's 10.
10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. This has taken many hours. So yeah, if this was just a normal valve spring change, yeah, easy, couple hours with the head on. But because we were changing the valve spring seats and a much stronger valve spring and just everything, and obviously taking off the to take off the valve spring seats, you got to take off the valve stem oil seals, and they're always knackered and they're a fucker to get on anyway. And yeah, and doing it with this incredibly sketchy valve spring compressor, which on most engines won't be a big deal, but on this there's not really much to attach it to, so you're kind of half expecting it to pop off and take your head off at any moment. But yeah, it's done. So now I'm going to put it all back together, put the cam back on, get it back in the Dizzy. Hopefully that part of the game don't go too badly. So hopefully the next part of this that you see, maybe the car running again, or it may be me swearing and going home in the Mercedes. We'll see. Well, it's all back together. It's now 1 o'clock in the fucking morning, and we started many hours ago. But to be honest, if it weren't for Thomas helping me for probably 4 or 5 hours when he'd already been at work all day, then I wouldn't have got this done full stop, because what he did and what he thought of, I wouldn't have thought of doing it, to be perfectly honest. But he came up with some fucking amazing ideas and is a bit of a surgeon when it comes to doing this. I mean, I would have definitely dropped little bits and pieces down into the oil ways doing that, but he managed it. So yeah, I'm massively grateful to him for that. I mean, with the head off, not too tricky. And if this was just plain old valve spring swap, yeah, not too tricky. But because we had to get rid of the valve spring seats as well, which meant the valve spring oil seals had to come off and obviously go back on again and all that, it was a fucker. But it's all back together, and I've not started it yet, but I can only presume it runs. It bloody runs! I know I've done this plenty of times before, so I had no reason for it to not start and run first time, but I still weren't fucking confident, because wow, this car's a bit of a curse. But yeah, seems bang on. No oil leaks, well, nothing I can see. All sounds pretty nice. Actually sounds less rattly than it used to, like top end. But yeah, all good. Whether this will cure the valve float thing, wow, that remains to be seen. But at the very least, this has future-proofed it for big power in the future, because, you know, no matter how leery the cam is, these valve springs are more than up to the job. So yeah, but the time is, I don't know, fucking 1:30 in the morning or something ridiculous. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it here for tonight and drive home. And yeah, I don't think I've even ate anything since about 10 AM. I've just had about 3 cans of Red Bull, big ones, like the ½ litre fucking 500ml jobs, and that's about it. So I'm pretty hungry, pretty tired, but yeah, works. Good night. Right, as you've seen, the new valve springs and retainers and all that crap are in. Taking the car for a little test drive, and I don't know if it's better yet, but it's leaner, which is a good sign. So I've added a bit more fuel pressure, hopefully to get the AFRs back to how they were. and I'm going to test it now, see if it feels any difference. So I'm going to take a trip to Mexico quickly, check it, just do a full pull and forth, well, a few of them. Well, I haven't got third yet, I haven't fixed the gearbox, so I was going to do that today, but I've run out of time. So yeah, I'm going to do that, take it for a drive, see if it's any better, and yeah, go from there. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be dramatic, the difference, or what, but hopefully it was valve float that was making the power drop off so fast. I mean, if it wasn't, then it really is just a turbo or a cam or both that can't really keep up. But no, seems a bit much for that. I reckon it probably is at least partially valve float. I mean, these aren't like super revvy fucking engines anyway, but that was a bit much. So yeah, let's go for a little drive and, well, see what happens. Right, so one little drive later, and I don't know. I'm not sure if it's any faster. Might be. It's not dramatic, that's for sure. It's not like night and day. So if it is faster, it's not hugely. I would say maybe it just doesn't drop off as fast. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, it's hard to tell. Like, seat your pants, it certainly hasn't added like a fucking 100 brake or anything, but it could have added a bit. And I mean, I wasn't expecting massive extra power anyway, so I just didn't want it to drop off like it did. So I think the only thing I can really do now is head back to Performance Remat, my mate Chris's place, and chuck it on the rollers again and see what it does. Doesn't need a lot of runs. You know, I know the facts within one or two realistically. So time to do that, I guess. I mean, it's quick. You can see that by the speedo, you know, but has it made a big difference or any difference? I don't know. But as you can also see by the speedo, it's not like it massively drops off the power. It just pulls and pulls, despite what the dynograph seems to say. So we will see.